individuation, the thing that comes up as the main obstacle in our ability to reunite with the eternal spirit is the so-called home, or which, once again, I go fully with you when you say that surah has to be called surah and not a chapter, because home, I think people have tried to translate it into I amness or id or ego, or I was even impressed by the use of word khudi by Allama Iqbal. And that is the big problem, that home dheerag hai. Home is the greatest melody. Daru bhi isma hai. Daru, the melody, the remedy, also is in this. Because if there is God's grace, then it will put you on the right path. So what I was trying to figure out and understand is two aspects here. One is that how do we envisage, how do we sort of comprehend the role of the physical human body as such, and the role of our ability to make choices which has been given to us by God, in other words, human will, because that is where home comes in. So if you could elaborate on that for me.
I'm thankful to you, brother, because you have given an exposition of your own, which is in consonance with what I have said. You have used the very correct word, instrument. This body is the instrument. Our ego or khudi or spiritual existence is the real existence. But it has to earn good deeds through this body, or it is earning hell for itself through this body. And this is actually like a horse you have to ride. So your khudi should be strong enough to control the horse, or it will throw you down on the ground. So both these things are necessary, and there is, the hadith of the Prophet, Inna li nafsika alayka haqqan. This body, animal body, has also rights upon you. You have to take care of it, everything. But don't think that you are only this body or animal being. Actually, your actual existence is a spiritual existence.
What have been the reasons for the decline of the Islamic civilization with the basic characteristics that you have presented in your talk? Maybe you will address that in a later subject. But my main concern here in the question is that your talk includes a number, multiple layers of contradictions. That's to say, there's a contradiction or dualism within man that you talked about. But there's also another kind of contradiction or dualism outside of man, between perhaps different civilizations or philosophies or discourses. And since God is a central figure within the Abrahamic tradition, within Islam, it seems that at the end of the talk you were somewhat pessimistic about human destiny. Now, how come that God becomes absent here, although we are in so much need of God, in the presence of contradiction, civilization contradiction or human contradiction? How come that God does not interfere in order to restore that balance between the two entities that you spoke of?
First of all, let me admit that this is global civilization, but it is, as its origin was Europe. It's European civilization which has engulfed the whole of the globe. Regarding the question, God doesn't intervene. He has created this world, bestowed human beings with faculties, and now it is for them to show خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Man is being tested over here. What you do? So actually this will happen, but that was not the subject of my talk. Finally, we agree, both Christians and Muslims, kingdom of heaven on earth is going to be established. It will be established. But first of all, we have to return to the basics, because this Western civilization or global civilization you are calling, it has gone deep into our own intellects, our own thinking, our own value structure. Even we are being, subject to the same influences. So Allah will make the truth rule over the whole of the world.
I have a couple of questions about the second part of your presentation on human knowledge. What I found missing in your epistemology is one thing. Your assumption seems to be that ideas generate ideas. I'm talking about the right-hand knowledge of physical objects. In other words, the intellectual sphere is an autonomous sphere. What seems to me missing is the idea of the social construction of ideas. In other words, ideas themselves do not generate subsequent ideas, but philosophy and social science theories are the product of the socio-economic conditions in which they are articulated. Would you accept that position?
Yes.
Going to the left side, then I'll ask the other question.
Actually, what I said was that this acquired knowledge, mostly it is the science knowledge of these physical sciences and then technology, and that is the main subject today. It's the focus of human attention. But because man wanted a total knowledge also, and he needed it, how to behave in this life, and he needed some philosophy. And along with that, I should have added, and I have on that diagram, the social sciences. And you have to generate them, and you have to build them, and then you have to live by them. Yes.
Going to the left side, you have one box, it calls recorded and open revelation. In Islam, I would assume that you mean that open and recorded revelation is contained in the Qur'an, right?
Yes.
Would you also include hadith?
Hadith
In
on
this
the other
category,
side.
or it's in the second box?
Second box,
Which is,
but for the prophets, this is also protected. The dreams that the prophet had, one revelation for him. And the inspirations. Because in Surah Shura, we have three forms of wahi. مَا كَانَ لِبَشَرٍ أَن يُكَلِّمَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا وَحْيًا أَوْ بِوَرَاءِ حِجَابٍ أَوْ يُرْسِلَ رَسُولًا فَيُوحِيَ بِإِذْنِهِ مَا يَشَاءُ. It is not possible for human beings to talk with Allah, except in three forms. From behind a curtain, just as Moses had that conversation with Allah on that tour, and an inspiration directly from Allah, or a wahi coming through the angel. And this wahi is the manifest, the jali, the recorded one. But what is coming as inspiration? That is the second aspect of wahi. And for the prophets, this is also protected. So hadith is, sort of a trial of that wahi khafi.
Then the other two boxes, one is called laws and injunctions, and then the legal code. I have two questions about that. As far as the laws and injunctions are concerned, are they permanent, or on the contrary, they are changeable? Are they time-bound? Because, as you know, there is a debate going on right now within the Islamic circles, what is permanent and what is changeable. The other is about the legal code. Is this legal code directly revealed, or is it derived from revelation? In other words, is it a human construction that is based on revelation, or is it directly derived from revelation?
You mean Sharia?
Sharia, yes.
What was the first thing?
The first was is it permanent?
It is permanent, and that's actually connected with the finality of the prophethood. These laws were kept changing. The law of Moses was something else. The law of Muhammad is somewhat different. But when humanity reached its puberty regarding this intellect,